The American markets were closed last night, so didn't see a lot of movement in the ASX, but pretty much sort of on track. So the move down through here is pretty much in line with, well, gold actually. We're looking at 5 waves down here in gold, and some other markets as well. Then I believe that off the 7300 we'll have some sort of rally in 3 waves, and then we'll have another move down here. Now there's 2 ways we could look at this pattern to the upside here. One is that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, then the ABC. Now that would be in line with the Australian dollar and also gold and some other markets as well. And let's just go to the 20k tick chart here, where I've drawn 2 scenarios. So currently we're in the A, the B and the C wave for wave 2, and the other one would be a larger A, B, C. So that means that if we're going to go for this one here, all of this move here would just be wave 1. So all of wave 1 and 2 and then 3 down at that stage. So it's just something we would need to work through. We'll just keep it in the backdrop. There's more reasons to have this one than this one, but I can't rule it out at this point. The other thing that sort of on my mind at the moment is the S&P. If I can just bring that in here for a moment, just bear with me a second. It's a little bit messy here, but it's just a tick chart. It's just 100 ticks. So in this case, we're looking at wave 1 coming back for wave 2, and in this wave 2 here, I haven't cleaned it up as yet, but from wave 1 here we're looking at an A wave, a B wave and a C wave down here. So we're still looking for one more move down here. When you sort of think about it a bit, there could be another little high here. It looks a bit corrective at that point, but we still need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then that would finish that off at that point, and then we would see a bullish market at that point. So that's kind of in line with what we're looking at. So this means that this would push up here, and while this is pushing up here, in a nutshell, we would push up for this wave B here, but then we're looking at coming down at that point, where I don't have the S&P doing that. Now, to me, this doesn't look like a wave 1 and 2 here. It just doesn't sort of have the right look and feel about it as such, So it looks to me like more like a wave 4, and then we would go up for a wave 5 at that point. Let me put that there. I don't know if this is the case or not. I'm just guessing at this particular point, and then putting wave 1 over here, and then we would have an A and a B and a C to come back again and then push off. So that move down here would coincide with this C wave that we need, and that C wave here that we need pulling down here, would be in line with the US dollar pushing up, and a few other things sort of working in together at that particular point. So yeah, look, as always, we just need to be a little bit careful how we sort of move forward. The US dollar here at the moment, the same thing here is sort of going as well, because if gold has got 5 waves to the downside, which is pretty clear that it has, then I would expect that this would be 5 waves here in terms of somehow 1 and 2 here and 3 here and 4 here, but it's such a big wave 4, then wave 5, and then we would have a deeper move down here. Currently we're just looking for an A and a B and a C wave, and then moving up at that point. But if it drops down behind the 103 here, drops down a bit deeper here, then I'll know that this will be the A wave up here and the B wave here. It's just that Yeah, we'll see. I mean, this is giving me 5 waves down in here, which is good. But as a wave 2, it should be all a little bit sharper and smaller. It's actually becoming quite big here, this A wave here. So it's possible that it could come down here. That would sort of, if that happened, then I could look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, then the A, the B, and the C coming down here. But anyway, I'm just still sort of pulling it together. At this stage, we'll just see how things play out, because we've got to kind of, I mean, they have been in tune, you know. I mean, the US dollar and gold have been doing the mirror opposite, so to speak, you know, when the US dollar had the top in and its low in and all of those sort of things. So anyway, I'll just keep sort of pulling it together, but we've got a bit of a, you know, a rough 5-wave structure down through here, but we've also got that on the banks as well. So if I'm just going to go straight to CBA, go to one. So from the top here, we've been looking down. We've got a nice impulse wave down here. We don't need this anymore. So yeah, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A little bit sort of, I mean, the bulk of it's there. We've got that strong third wave here, you know what I mean? So I think that's all kind of there. It does look like a bit of an impulse wave here. Look, we may have some sort of A, B, and C here and then come down here further. But otherwise, we'll look for that A wave up here and B wave and C wave here for the B wave. So very much the same as, you know, this move down here, in line with this move and landing on its low here. So yeah, we can just, I mean, I've got the alternative count is having this here as wave 1 here, and then another wave 1 up here on the 10K. So we'll just go through that. We've got to keep that in tune as well. So wave 1 here and 2 here, and this is not so silly really, because this would be in line with the US markets, the S&P at that point, you know. So if we just may not sort of trade that, but let me just go to the daily chart for the S&P for a moment. It's good just to bring all these things in together a little bit and see them pushing and pulling off each other. Then it kind of tells us, you know, because this October low down here, right, this October low is the same for the S&P, just dragging it across now. So this is the S&P here, where we've got the October low here roughly, and we've got this 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 to the upside here. But we may have this as 1 and 2 over here. I'm not quite sure just yet. We've got to kind of, you know, gold and the dollar and that are telling me that this would be the one to be had over here. But then again, you know, gold has had 5 waves up, and we've got wave 1 for the top of gold, and we're pulling back for the wave 2. So anyway, this is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, whichever way we want to sort of look at it here. So yeah, so anyway, that's the S&P count. So it's possible to have this as 1 and 2 here. In this case, the 61.8% is back here, and we'll still look for an A and a B and a C back here on this. So we've just been tracking that on this count here. So it's the same story really, just down as wave A here and wave B here. We don't know how far that's going to pull up just yet, but we'll just work it as we go. And then wave C down through here. I mean, can we look at all of this in line with the S&P, so to speak, and look at it as some sort of ABC to this point here? We could, but it's just still a bit small, whichever way we want to look at it at this stage. And the ASX can do its own thing, and like I said, this would be in line with CBA, which is important, and also, you know, other markets as well. So that's where we are with that. On the going back to our other count here for a moment, looking at wave 1 up here, we're looking down as wave A here, and a wave B and a wave C coming down into 72. That's what I'm sort of thinking at this point. We should get a bounce off the 73. Now, the US markets still have another little move to go lower, so we may sink into this and come lower, but we normally get a bounce off this number. So we'll see how we go. In understanding this here, we'll go to our 100 tick chart. So yesterday, I think we could have been, I'm not sure if we're here or here yesterday. Anyway, we're expecting a bit of a wiggle and a jiggle and then a bit of a move down. So that's sort of happening in its own way. Now, I've put this wave 4 here, even though it's not the highest here, and yeah, it could possibly go there. Let me just, it's not that clear in here as 5 waves. I suppose we could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here. It does give me a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, which is good. This one here also gives me 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I suppose we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the A, the B, and the C. That works. But yeah, I can see that we got 5 here very clearly. So 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave in here, and a fourth and a fifth. So we've either got wave 1 and 2 here, and then wave 3 here, and 4 coming into here, and then 5. So we haven't still made a new low below here. I know we're close, but we haven't done that. We can expect a bounce off here. So I'm not really sure of the pathway down here. The other pathway down, of course, is having this here as wave 1 here, and then coming back for wave 2, so which will come back a bit higher than wave 4. As it currently stands, this wave 4 should just come back to here and then move down. So it could have 2 little, a bit of a higher move here. I don't want to put wave 5 in here just yet, because we haven't made that new low here yet, but it's possible, I wouldn't go long, because if I was going to go long, I would need, even at minimum, I'd need sort of a little tiny 5 wave structure coming into play here, something at least that size. It could be smaller, but I definitely need that at minimum to go long, because I need to protect my position. If I went long here or here, I can have my stop here, and if that gets triggered at that point there, then I can bring my stop to that point. So I can sort of manage the situation a little bit. But without something like this, there's no sort of management. It's just sort of don't forget to breathe type of situation. Yeah, I think we're going to be landing down here, and we know that CBA is, if we just go to CBA for a moment and have a look at the daily chart for some volume here. So, it's still quite low volume pushing that up. Well, that tells us that it's corrective, at least at that point anyway. So yeah, let's just see how that sort of plays out, really. We'll just see how that plays. And yeah, like I mentioned, gold is the same as well. It's got 5 waves down. We looked at Vale yesterday. That also had 5 waves down. But I'm seeing some strength come into the resources. Let me just have a look at iron ore for a moment. Let me just see. Yeah, oh, that's where it's come from. Okay. Yeah, RIO. So we need to put that in here then. Is that the A, the B, and the C then? I mean, the only other thing that I could think of here that I've made a mistake on is putting this up in here. I mean, it's not like it's only a little mistake. It's not, it shouldn't be too hard on myself. That's the trouble with betting and gambling or analyst, isn't it? You're only as good as your last call. Yeah, I mean, we've been bullish on it. That's one thing. So this here would be, let's just play this out here, because it didn't really pull back as a wave 2 here. That's what sort of haunts me a little bit. So I think we'll look at it as a wave 4, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 pushing to the upside. But obviously that's really, I mean, the 9 is not such a, I mean, it's important, but it's not humongous. So we may need to stretch that up into this space, into number 1 here. Okay, so I think that might be the go. And this will be some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up for the third and the fourth and the fifth. So it'll be something like that. So that's basically what BHP and RIO and FMG are going to do. I should have been on it a little bit earlier. Apologies about that. I forgot to look at this particular chart. Rightio, but I do want to have a look. This will probably help the bounce for the ASX as well, but we've got CBA with it as well, so it could move quite quickly. It's coming back here. So yeah, what we could do here, if this did something like 4 and 5 and just did that, took the little low out there and then just took off at that point, what we could do is we could use the 40 here. We don't often use it, but because we are where we are with this at the moment, like if that 40 became the support, then you could go long on that. So you can look for a little classic trading levels pattern on that, and then look to go short, go long on that. So would have the arrival here, and of course would have some sort of reaction. It's played a good sort of part in here, really, so we can use it. And yeah, but the fact that it's just back, above, first high above the level, that's all you need, and then you go long from that point. It can get us a little way up, I mean, it's, so we should be going up, so that's quite a good sort of thing. You'll just have to hang on for grim death, because a B wave is like the beginnings of an impulse wave, but the B wave here can get quite complicated, but the A wave should be a straight 5-wave move here, so it should be impulsive. So yeah, I think going long on the 40 could be good for short-term traders, because if the market got back above 40 here, then somehow this has got to be finished down here. How it finishes is 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, support. A classic trading levels pattern on 73.40 gives you the leg up at that particular point. Now you may be able to get it earlier, but it just depends on how it sort of unfolds, really. I mean, if we put wave 4 here and then wave 5 here, it's finished at that point. But like I said, it hasn't made a new low here, and yeah. So anyway, we'll just see how that sort of plays out. So iron ore, it's all green for iron ore at this point. Let's go and have a look. I wanted to just go on, this is a monthly chart for BHP here, and I just wanted to go back in and have a look at the bigger picture, because sometimes we sort of get, well, I tend to just look at these sort of intraday moves and those sorts of things. When we do get the new website, when I know that we did build it and it was ready, and then we did the survey, and then we had some designers come in and redo it, and I'm glad we did, really, because I'm spending money on the old, I don't know, if you've been around long enough, you'll remember a couple of years ago we had that CFD portfolio, we put stock trades into it and those sort of things, and had some analytics with it. Well, that's all being redesigned. It will be redesigned for US trades and Australian trades, and there'll be one portfolio will be for trades that go from like days to weeks in that sort of thing, and then there'll be another portfolio that go from weeks to months, and then there'll be portfolios that go from months to a year. So 100 days, 200 days, 300 days, those sorts of things. Because a lot of us have got small managed super funds and those sort of things. So we're going to have a portfolio for each of those. So yeah, so that's going to make it sort of interesting. So it'll force me to look at the bigger picture on things, and I mean, pretty much every man and his dog owns BHP, and why not with the yield that it does? And these guys are moving into copper, and BHP sees some of these green metals pretty much tripling in supply use, at least. So going from $50 to $100 is not such a big thing, but yeah, and if it was going to go there, well, then this would be the count. We can see quite clearly that this is a corrective move in 3 waves here. we had this spike here, so because of the spike it gives me overlapping wave structures, and this is a bit of an occurrence in the US markets as well. So it may not be the right way to look at it. I'll take that with a pinch of salt at this point, but even if it wasn't, even if I took 5 waves to here, we still got a correction at this particular point. And if not, well then we've got wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And we now need to lift the I'll need to lift this up, so we're looking up for 1 and 2 here. So this iron ore thing that if I can just come back to that for a moment, iron ore here, let's just say for a moment that this C wave didn't make a low here, but it did on the Singapore exchange, and it has given me 5 waves here, so I'm okay with this. But if this gives us 5 waves up here, then we should get some type of correction at this point, shouldn't we, really, before going up and hitting this number here, number 1. It's definitely going to give us something to think about as well at that point, isn't it? So one way or another, if this count is correct of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, so that and the number here, or just this number alone here, is going to give us that. And also too, when you normally make a new high above a previous high, it likes to come back and check it. You know, it likes to breach the old high, and then it exhausts itself and comes back to rest. So this pullback here, I think this is the one that we'll see coming in this little area here, before pushing off again, because it really needs to establish itself. Well, the iron ore needs to establish itself on that trading level 1, major trading level 1, and this one here needs to settle in on that trading level 5 here as a support. You know, it's tried to get it here before. It hasn't actually sat up there, but it's been like poking it with a stick in a way, and birds are noisy today, and yes, so it needs to sit on there. It's not support yet, is it? You know, I don't think it's a big risk, but it's just something that we normally look for, isn't it? You know, well, I normally look for, because yeah, it'll get pretty sure it'll get up there. So that's the monthly chart. So on the weekly chart here, just to drill in, because I have changed it, because I had an orange wave 1 here before, but I'm putting blue wave 1 over here for that now. So I think that what we'll have here will be the normal thing, the arrival, the reaction. Now we'll see it push up here, and then we'll see it come into these tops here, which is only logical, isn't it? And then it will push back in 3 waves, and then push up at that point. So yeah, I mean, you can go long here if you wish, and you know, do that sort of short trade there, but it will come back, and you know, it's only logical to come back to these tops and this bottom here as support. So coming back into 48 would be about right. So yeah, you can trade that up on leverage, but if you're doing leverage for the long hold here, obviously you wouldn't do that. But anyway, I think that's the pattern. But as you can see, it's not on support. It doesn't have that 50 of support yet, and that's what we'll need to, you know, talk about in times to come. So coming back into the daily chart with this now, I've got it. This is how I've got it here. So I've got this wave 2 here, this wave 1 and 2 here. This is actually 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. A bit odd, but I think it's my best fit. And then 2 here, and then 5 waves up for the 3rd, 4th, 5th for the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th here. So this here is in 3 waves here. It's just not giving me 5 waves down like Vale. Now it still may, and it may get complicated, and I may have got this a little bit wrong and so on, but I have to check where copper is actually. Copper and nickel, I mean, BHP's big in all of those as well. So we'll see, but I didn't get my 5 waves down here. I got 1 and 2 and 3 here. But that's like an ABC, isn't it? So I was looking for 4 here, and then down for 5. Now we still may get that, and I could lead you astray here. And if we do get 5 waves down, then we'll have a correction, and then we'll have another 5 down, and then we'll go up, and then we'll do this sort of thing. So We'll just see what comes, but I'm just preparing you for the bigger picture and just putting some thoughts on the table. And I mean, my mind with the markets is bullish because of the well, not just because of that, but well, pretty much because of that, because of China in its own way. So with some indices here, let's just have a quick look at the indices here and looking at China on, well, this is China here. So it's looking quite good, perky in here. We look at the A50 as well, but on this monthly chart coming into play here, and I will get the whole thing sitting here where we have looked at it quite a few times now, but some folks may not have seen it. This is the Chinese comp here, Shenzhen, I guess it is. So yeah, I've got it as a triangle pattern. Now maybe we get another dip down here, but you know, when I was looking at the A50 here for China, we haven't looked at this for a week, but and like I said, I may not have the count right here, but and probably don't, as that has come back and done that there. So anyway, we can look at it whichever way you want to sort of look at this here. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. We have 5 waves up here. It's probably a bit like the Australian market, actually, come to think of it. I'm a bit of a nignog sometimes. I just sort of, penny doesn't drop that quick. But Australia's doing the same thing, isn't it? So so maybe maybe we've got a B wave and then a C wave down here, and then we go up at that point, you know. But either way, we're getting 5 waves here. That's always been my thing, you know, from this bigger bear market here in this case, you know. I don't normally use moving average, but it looks nice sitting there, doesn't it? Touching this one and that one. So anyways, folks like indicators, so doesn't hurt me to use them just because I don't use them much. Makes me look like a technical analyst. So yeah, look, I really like what I'm seeing in terms of patterns from China here. Like I say, we're getting 5 waves up here. So it's possible that we could be going up now, but I can assure you that this here, right, is corrective, you know, and we can see, you know, some, whatever's happening here, we can see volume coming back into this, you know, this chart, and serious volume. It's not like this is smaller than other volume in here. I mean, that's pretty tall here, but but this is, you know, this is accumulation here, you know, and we haven't seen the distribution of that yet, you know. So that's pretty exciting in that bigger picture there for that. Okay, so sorry to go on the sidetrack there. So yeah, let's just see if it follows it up here. That will also, I haven't adjusted the charts, but it will also in its own way be the same for this. If RIO here pushes up here, then I'll have to do the same as well. I will have to bring wave 4 over here somewhere, and I'll have to bring wave 5 over here, and we'll end up going across the 130 here at this point. And then these will come across over here for that. So the trend continues in that instance, and the same for Fortescue. And I'm pretty sure with Fortescue here, because I could see that we had this first move down through here, which really looks as if it's in 3 waves. This move up here is in 3 waves as a B wave. This one here can be looked at 5 waves of 1 and 2 in here. Nice strong 3rd wave. 4th wave here, yeah, it has come a bit high here and all of that, and then down. So it does look to me, it looks like an ABC, and it looks like a 4th wave, the way that it's behaved, going sideways a little bit. So yes, it can push up here, and we'll probably need to push this up into this area up here for this. So it does create a bit of a long trade at this point, or and this is a nice, apart from that spike here, this is also, quite a large accumulation process here. Certainly enough to take it higher, And plus, with the ASX needing to go up in that B wave, then there's a bit of credence for this to push up as well. So here's gold. I won't go into it because I've just been rambling on a lot, but you see that volume spike here? That tells me that we're in here because we had been counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here, and it all fits pretty nicely, I have to say. So we should be getting some type. How far will it go back up here? I'm not quite sure. It'll depend on the US dollar and those sort of things. So I'm not. It may be very small. It may be something like this. Do you know what I mean? Or it could be something a bit bigger. I'm not that sure. I would probably tend to go on the smaller side actually, because of where I see the dollar. But I could be wrong about that. But as I've always said, it doesn't really matter. We're not interested in trading the B wave up here. It's a pretty good case of having 5 waves here. I won't go into it. So the B wave and the C wave here, we could trade the C wave down, but it'll probably be a bit short. But when this comes in here, all I wanted to do was focus on the first little 5 waves up here so we could manage our risk at that point, and then we're good to go. And as I've mentioned before, with this particular market, I think that we've got a bigger picture occurring here. So with this here, I was sort of equally bearish on this for a long time because we take this high here, we take this low here. As such, we bring it across. We're right on the 61.8% here. I can view this here in 3 waves. So we've got that spike here as well. So you can kind of take that on board or not. But in one way or another, we've still got 3 waves there. It's corrective, But what sort of made me sort of really interested in this is that this move down here and this move here, it's a pretty good case for counting 5 waves up here. And now that we have, the US dollar topped out at the bottom here on the 28th of September, or 26th of September, or 28th of September. So we know that we know from the other currencies that the US dollar is in a bear market and is having a corrective rally at the moment. So the dollar would be behind this trend pushing to the upside here. So there's a good case for having a move up here higher. There's a good case for having this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And also here as well, it does make a nice A, B and C wave here. It's possible that we could have, still have the bearish case here. That is possible, but because we got 5 here, we'd still need the ABC here. We'd still look for that ABC here, and then we'd have to have a push up here, and then would come down at that point. So the bearish move at this point would be that I could only take it off from that top to that bottom there. I could only take it from that point, which would be from here to here. So yeah, it could just come to if I just remove this here, it could just come to this point. So there is a, I like to try to understand what could possibly be the bearish pattern, and that's what it could be. It could be the A wave to here, an ABC for the B wave here, and a C wave to here. So if we go long on gold, we'll just watch how strong this goes here, because it should go really quite strong here when you think about it, because if this is 1 and 2 here and then 1 and 2 over here, then this will be 1 and 2 here again as well, and then there'll be some 1s and 2s in here. So it should really pick up speed here. So we will know soon enough if that's going to fail on us, if that's what it's going to be at that point. We know that there's a lot of money printing. We know the US dollar will eventually be 0 because of the printing. We know gold gets manipulated on the paper side. There's a lot of ifs and buts in all of this. I mean, gold simply, they won't peg a currency back to gold. They just simply wouldn't do it. I don't think there's enough gold even to do that, is there? So yeah, they'll just go to digital currency and come up with some new rules, some gameplay, some zero-sum game. Okay, so anyway, that's GDX. So anyway, just shooting the breeze on that. Newcrest Mining, we've been looking at 5 waves up here. It had the Newmont experience here. That deal hasn't gone through yet. So it's currently from the low here to the high here. It's sitting on the 61.8%. It does look a little bit bearish at this particular point. I do think it's a reasonable sort of buying opportunity, just generally speaking. But if we were to follow US spot gold and GDX, we will be looking for something like this here. Now, because I've already got 5 waves here, I could put wave 2 here, and then wave 1 here, and an ABC for wave 2 here, and then go up from that point. It'll be something like that. But I think that we can, unless Newmont come back in with another bid or something of that nature and make things a little bit more complicated. Otherwise, if nothing happens, then this will be the A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down to here. Now, it could come down lower here, I don't know, but we'll just see how it plays out at this point. Alrighty, and the Australian dollar. So with the Australian dollar, the same as the ASX market in its own little way, but slightly different. It's more of a direct reflection of the US dollar, but the 5 waves up here, we've been looking for an ABC correction. It is possible, I'll say it, put that wave C there and we're done and we can move up from that point, but I don't think that's the case. As a wave 2 here, it should be simple. It should just be 5 waves, 3 waves, and 5 waves. And we do have 5 waves in this little move here, but I think this is back down here. I think this is just wave 1 here. We're going back for wave 2 at this point. I think we'll just cruise in here and have a look at this. Yeah, so I think this is what we're thinking. 5 waves down and then back again for wave 2. And this is really what's going on with the US dollar as well here. So the US dollar here, we've got the A wave here, the B wave here, and we're looking for 5 waves up here. And in those 5 waves moving up there, we're just looking at this on the 2K tick chart. So a bit messy here, but anyway, the A wave here, the B wave here, and then blue wave 1 and blue wave 2 here. So an ABC for, obviously this was closed yesterday. So not a lot of movement. It looks like 5 waves down here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, then I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, so it could probably have, I don't know, it's not quite there. Maybe it can go up from this point. Maybe it's the A, the B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from that point. Maybe I can squeeze all that in there. That would make a better wave 2 at that point. Because the thing here is that this is pulled up, it could go a little bit higher into the 61.8%, but it's basically done its job here as a sharp ABC movement to where it needs to be at this point. I think what you could do if you wanted to short this from here to catch that 3rd wave here is simply look at the 69 here as a level to use and to find it as a tested resistance at this particular point. So you could go and study these here, these previous ones, but very simply you're looking for something like that. But obviously it will probably come back above the level here again, so it will probably be something like that, but you need that first low below the level. And you can look at the second one, and if it does go back above the level, then you need to work this little correction here, and this little pattern here will be a bigger version of this whole big pattern here. So this will be the arrival here, the reaction, the first low below the level, the ABC correction here, and then down. So you can continue to refine. It's like the Elliott Wave structures, you know, they're just fractal patterns all the time. So yeah, but let's just cruise in here a little bit more. I'll just check on the 10 tick chart. That's just having wave C there. It's possible. It's not too far, it's not too short, you know, compared to this. We'll have to just keep an eye on that. And into the 5,000. So this is where we start looking at it as an ABC pattern. You know, I could take it. I just don't like spikes in the market, so I don't know if I should take it, you know, from here or whatever. But either way, we're at the 50 and the 60 is close here. So, you know, we've got to kind of just have a look at what other numbers are in the market that have been there for a little longer. That's probably a nice pattern there. There's probably, I think there's probably another move up here before. But anyway, the short trade would be waiting for that first low below the level, and there'll probably be some sort of little ABC back again. But it does leave you this one and does leave you that one at that point. And they only have to be small positions, and then put the other levels in between 68 and 69. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. And with 8, you put in group 2, so 72 and 65 in there. Once 65 becomes the retested resistance, then you know it's rejected the 69. It'll drop down to the 5. When it gets to the 5, it can drop back to the 6 or the 65, and then eventually when that becomes the resistance, you can add again at that point. When you get down here, it's definitely going to bounce, so you don't want to be adding any more down here near these lows or this particular number. Okay, on the 1000 tick chart here, just I was looking at it a little bit here. I was thinking that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the A wave, the B wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 to here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more push up to make it high up here, and then roll over. Now, just because, you know, I say that, you still need to, you have your own setups, you know, you find your own setup, you know, but all I'm saying is that, you know, this looks like about the top here for that, you know. I won't go to the 100 ticks, or should I? Just see, I probably haven't done anything on there. Oh yeah, I have. So I've got that 1 degree higher there. Yeah, so I've been playing around with it, but I haven't really nutted it out. I think it's got one more to go there. I mean, don't forget that other thing that wave C might be in here, because I can actually count this up quite nicely here as 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4 here, and then 5 here. So it does count up as an impulse wave as well. It's not like it's the best looking corrective pattern. You know, it's not a clear corrective pattern like with an A and a B and a C wave here. You know, it's more, this can be counted, you know, impulsively through here, you know. All right, well, that's it. I'll leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, alrighty.